What's up, people? Welcome back to Daily Red Devil for all of your latest Manchester United transfer news and talk. Hope everyone is doing well on this Friday afternoon. We are now going to bring you the reaction to the Manchester United press conference ahead of the game against Tottenham tomorrow at the London Stadium. So Erik has, of course, just been speaking to the press at Carrington. So we will deep dive into all of the stuff that's been discussed. But before we do that, please do smash a like on the video and please do subscribe to the channel if you're new. So let's jump straight on into it. So the first thing that he was asked about was, of course, Mr. Harry Maguire, the biggest topic of the day. And he has said the following. And Erik says, Harry is a player for us. I am happy he is here. We need a good squad. We have 4 good centre-halves, including Luke Shaw. We have 5. And we need it because we're going to play 50 to 60 games this season. All the players are internationals, so we have had a very heavy load to cover. So I am happy that Harry Maguire is still here. Okay. He's then asked, what would it take for Harry Maguire to get into the squad? What will he have to do to be able to get in the playing team? What does he have to do to impress him and all the rest of it? Erik has said the following. It's up to him how much he plays. He knows what to expect from me. I've been here for 1 year now, and you know what I expect from a centre-half. And he can do it. I've told you many times before, he has the ability to do it, so now he has to show it. It is then about character, to be convicted, to play that role. He has all of the abilities to do it, and it is up to him when the time / opportunity is there. So let's talk about that one really, really quickly. I don't know. I'm not sure what to think about this. Obviously, we know Erik a lot of the time says one thing in the press conference, but actually means another thing. The fact that he's come out and ultimately said that, well, his exact words is, Harry is happy. He says, Harry is a player for us. I am happy that he is here. I mean, surely that's got to be the biggest lie we've ever heard. Why would he be happy that he's here? Like, I don't get it. And then he goes on to say, I don't know what happened with West Ham and Harry Maguire. Harry is our player, and I'm happy he's here. We need a good squad. It's just so frustrating. It really, really is, you know? Like, why on earth would he still want Harry Maguire at the club? I assume he's just trying to, you know, save embarrassment for Maguire. Like, it doesn't make any sense. It makes literally 0 sense why he would even want him anywhere near that squad. He's too slow. You know, he's past his best. We all know that. He was definitely never worth the amount of money that that we paid for him. He needs to be moved on. So I don't really know what we were expecting him to say. Were we expecting him to come out and say, get Harry Maguire out of my club? That probably was never going to happen. He was always going to come up with something. But yeah, for him to say that I'm happy he's here, he knows what to expect from me. I've been here, blah, blah, blah. He looked, just to be very clear as well, because obviously you're just watching me talk about it, but his facial reactions were not impressed. He did not seem impressed. You could tell by the look on his face. He was not happy to be answering the question. He looked really annoyed. And then when the interviewer asks him, you know, what does Harry have to do to get into the team? He was just like, he knows what he has to do. And his face was completely blank. He said it with no extra information. And then the interviewer really, really presses him to try and get a little bit more out of him, to try and find out exactly what it was he expected. Yeah, as somebody says in the chat, like, he said about Ronaldo that he wanted him at the club. He said the same about David De Gea and he got rid of him. You can just tell by his facial expression in this interview that what his face says is saying something different to what comes out of his mouth. His face says that he's angry and that he doesn't want him there. And his mouth is telling us that he's happy he's here. He knows what to expect and all the rest of it. But let me know what you think about that one in the comments section. How would you feel that Harry Maguire looks like he will be staying here? The only thing which maybe annoys me a little bit is, like, I would maybe expect a little bit more honesty, but obviously he's not going to sit there and throw Harry Maguire under the bus, you know? And we know that Erik doesn't like the press. We've known that from day one. If anybody remembers, the first day that he got announced as the new manager, a Sky Sports journalist tried to interview him in the street, and he literally just refused him, and his security guard pushed him away. I don't know if you guys remember that. And the Sky Sports journalist was there like, Erik, we don't do this in England. You have to speak to me and all the rest of it. And Erik just didn't want to talk to him. So I do respect that in some ways, because a lot of these people who go and interview them, they ask questions that fit their agenda. You know, they don't. A lot of the time, it is very agenda driven. Right, let's move on to the next bit though. So then he was asked about more signings at Manchester United, which is of course what I'm sure a lot of you are interested in. So Erik has said the following on signings. He said, our squad is covered, all positions are covered, but of course we are Manchester United and we are always looking for improvements. And when there is the opportunity, we will strike in the last 2 weeks. So that's a good bit of information there. He says, when there is the opportunity, we will strike in the last 2 weeks. So he is hinting at more signings. He then goes on to say, as I said, we are always looking for opportunities, but I think we have a good squad. With this squad, we are convinced we can go for our targets. So, you know what? He's the one who said this, okay? We can all think of what we want. We can say we're going to struggle for top 4. Erik Ten Hag has come out today and said, with this squad, we are convinced we can get our targets. That's his name on the line. If we don't get our targets, whatever they might be, he's the one who said before the start of the season that he thinks with the squad he has, as of today, he can reach his target. So that's fine. If that's what he thinks, obviously I trust Erik Ten Hag, and he's done nothing to this point to lose my trust. So if he's genuinely happy with the signings he has, if he's happy with his squad, obviously we have to trust that. Obviously we all know that we need more. We know we need another midfielder, we need a striker, we probably need another centre back. Yeah, so that's up to Erik Ten Hag. He's then asked about away results, because obviously as you all know, the away form last season was an absolute disgrace. So he's asked about our away form, and he says, it is one of the aims we have for the season that we have to step up in the away games to get more points, to bring higher levels, because that is the foundation, of course, for more points. So it is often to do with personality, so that it is the demand from me for the players that we have to show more personality on the pitch to win such games and go and gather more points away. So yeah, obviously the away form was absolutely terrible last year. Let's be honest, it was awful. We lost against all of the big six, didn't we? We got battered by Manchester City. We got battered by Liverpool. We lost to Arsenal. We drew with Chelsea, didn't we? We got battered by Brentford. We got battered by Villa. You get the general gist of it. Our away form was absolutely woeful last season. So this is the big test on Saturday tomorrow. We have to go and beat Tottenham. A draw isn't good enough for me. I know everyone's going to say, well, based on what we saw on Monday, how can you be positive? We're Manchester United, and if we are going to reach these targets that Erik Ten Hag's just said that we're achieving for, we need to be beating Tottenham. We do. They've just lost Harry Kane and they haven't replaced him. They're weak. We need to go and beat Tottenham. If that doesn't happen, then you can't sit there in the press conference and say you're happy with our squad and then us go and lose to Tottenham. So there's a lot riding on this game tomorrow. There really, really is, because we're all expecting a response. And as people are saying in the chat, it's just so frustrating that all of these press conferences is just so heavily driven by Harry Maguire. That was one of the reasons I wanted him gone. I think he's an unnecessary distraction. I think he's toxic. I think just having to talk about him every single day is just frustrating. But yeah, let me know how you feel about that one. And let me know what you think these expectations are for Manchester United this season. What are the targets that the board have set Erik Ten Hag? Because on his previous section, as I said, he says, I think we have a good squad. And with this squad, we are convinced we can get our target. So he's saying he's happy with the squad. What do you think is the targets for Manchester United this season? Let me know in the comment section. I would assume it's top four. I don't think it can be anything more than that. He's then asked about Lisandro Martinez, who I know a lot of you are really, really worried about. So he says the following. He says, Lisandro Martinez was training. I think he will be available, yeah. So it looks like Martinez is okay. It looks like he will be part of the game tomorrow against Tottenham, which is absolutely essential. We need Martinez. So that's a positive. Martinez is training, and it does look like he will be available for selection. Now, he's then asked about Mason Greenwood, which of course is the big topic of the day. Erik Ten Hag has said the following on Mason Greenwood. He says, no, we focus on the way of playing. We focus on the team performance. It is about the players who are available, so we focus on Tottenham. Every start to the season is difficult. We know that. We're really aware of it. So the performance against Wolves on Monday was not what we hoped for. That's good. That's good that he's thrown them under the bus, but we won. We showed the personality and the character, and that is one of the things we had to step up to according to last season. So he's completely avoided the question about Mason Greenwood, which I guess is to be expected. We weren't expecting him to come out and say, bring Mason back. I want him in my team now. But I am glad that he has acknowledged that the performance on Monday was unacceptable. He says, it was not what we hoped for, but we won. So that's good, because if it was Ollie, he would have said, oh, we played great on Monday, we had a really good game, we won. Like, I don't want any more of that. I want honesty from my manager, and I'm glad that he's come out and said that the performance on Monday was not acceptable. He's then asked about Johnny Evans, which of course is another topic for discussion, and he says the following. He says, of course, otherwise we would not be talking. We will see. We are in talks, and when we have news, we will bring it as always. For this month, he is under contract, but we are talking. So it looks like Johnny Evans is in line to get a new contract, or at least talks are ongoing. He says, we are talking about a contract. As soon as we have the news, we will bring it to you. So it does look like Johnny Evans will get a contract. I guess the only way in which he doesn't is if another club, obviously he's a free agent, so he's not going to cost any money. If another club comes in and offers him a bigger wage, maybe Manchester United say, we're not going to go for him. But let me know in the comment section, would you give Johnny Evans a new contract? Let me know. If that meant Harry Maguire could go, maybe that would be a good option for me. But yeah, I'm not going to be massively excited and be screaming from the rooftops if Johnny Evans get a new deal personally. Yeah, do get your comments in throughout everything we've discussed today. And do let me know how you're feeling. Right, and then he's asked a little bit about He's asked a little bit about the women's team, the Lionesses, and he says, firstly, it is great that a Dutch manager is doing a great job for England. Obviously, the England manager is Dutch, the England's women's team's manager. He says, I'm very proud of her coming from the Dutch school, and of course, I'm a supporter and fan of the England's women's team, and I really cross my fingers and hope they return with the World Cup. So, and that was the end of the conference. That was everything that was discussed. So the main talking points, just to give you a bit of a recap, was Harry Maguire, where he said that he's happy he's still there, blah, blah, blah. He's not thrown him under the bus at all. He's also obviously talked about more signings, where he said all positions are covered, but he says if there's an opportunity in the last 2 weeks of the window, we will strike. So there clearly is a desire to get more signings. He's not said all of our business is done, but he did say that he's happy with his squad. He thinks he has a good squad, and he thinks he can achieve the targets that have been set for him with the squad he has. So Erik ten Hag has literally put his name on the line there, because if we don't achieve those targets, he's the only one that can, well, I mean, you can't really just blame him, but you get what I mean. He could have come out and said, we need to sign more players desperately. On Monday, we really struggled. We saw our midfield wasn't good enough. We're not scoring enough goals, blah, blah, blah. You know, he could have come out with something like that, and I think we all would have agreed. So Erik ten Hag has, has thrown himself a little bit under the limelight here, because at the end of the season, people will say, well, at the beginning of the season, before the transfer window ended, you said you were happy with the squad you had. You thought it was good enough to achieve your targets. So it's now up to him to achieve those targets. Obviously, the positive is Martinez is training, and he thinks he will be available for tomorrow. And he obviously did acknowledge that we need to improve on our away results. In relation to Greenwood, there was absolutely nothing to talk about, zero. He completely avoided the question, which I guess is fair enough in the circumstances, because as we all know, the Greenwood situation is not up to him, it is up to someone else. But those are all the topics that were covered on the press conference today. I'll be honest, I don't really find Erik ten Hag's press conferences that exciting or inspiring, let's call it. He's not like a Mourinho. He's not like someone who entertains you, but in some ways I actually quite like that. I like the fact that he doesn't like the press. I like the fact that he always gives half answers. Obviously, it's not good for us as fans, because we want to get more of an insight into the man, into what his thought process is like. But in some ways, I think it is good, because he doesn't need to be friends with these journalists. All they're out to do is to get him, of course. All they're out to do is spin stories about him. So him doing these types of press conference where he pretty much answers nothing doesn't really bother me. Obviously, as someone who talks to you about it, is a little bit frustrating, because I'm kind of clutching at straws to bring you guys information. But it is what it is. Do let me know in the comment section how you feel about everything. Obviously, just to be clear as well, this press conference that came out today was pre-recorded from yesterday, and it was embargoed to come out at lunchtime today. So it was from yesterday. They recorded it yesterday afternoon, apparently, and it's now been released today. I'm going to wrap the video up here, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please do smash a like on the video and subscribe if you are new. And please do get in the comment section and let me know your thoughts on everything we have discussed. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Have a lovely day. Speak soon.